I followed the speech of Mrs. von der Leyen, and I feel that she is very worried about solidarity and maybe about the future of European Union. And many people say, after this epidemic, this is actually the end of European Union because you were not prepared in terms of, health preparations and even transport preparations. What is your reaction?
Well, I think we are standing ahead of quite an important challenge here, and it's a challenge that really puts us all before our own responsibilities. We have to make sure we all realize that we can only tackle these big challenges if we tackle them heads on. That means if we cooperate well, if we do it in full solidarity, and if we make sure that there is a good coordinated European response. And I have to say, this is exactly the work that the European Commission is very much striving to do, to make sure that we help the member states in their response to the coronavirus, that we try to coordinate this work as well as possible, and that we offer all the support that member states need, whether it's in the area of health, in the area of economic support, in the area of border management, in the area of transport. This is the moment where we have to all work together. The Commission can play an important role there.
What is the biggest obstacle to realize this, to achieve this, the unity of member countries?
Well, I think the challenge itself is huge. We are standing in front of a challenge as we have not yet seen before. So it's a very big challenge. And in the beginning, the tendency may be to all try to come up with our own solutions. But I think it has become quickly clear that if we do that, we will not be able to tackle the crisis heads on. And so I think a very important role for the Commission and an important challenge for the European Union as a whole is to make sure that we tackle this together.
As I mentioned in the beginning, when we speak about China, we know it's more or less an authoritarian country or regime, and that was the reason that the epidemic in China was, spread it in Wuhan and other places. But when we speak about Europe, we speak about democratic countries with freedom of spreading information. And many people say, you already knew that this will happen. Why it happened in Europe?
Why happened what do you mean? Why did the virus happen in Europe?
Yeah, why there was not enough preparation while you already has information about this?
About that,
to start with, nobody foresaw, obviously, that this virus would break out first in China, and then that it would have the global effect that it has now. And so this is exactly what we're trying to tackle now. And I believe that we have very good instruments to do that together with the member states.
You have very good instruments to do that. But I hear from different countries, European countries, they have problem with, shortage in medical care personnel, shortage in medical supplements. How is that now?
Let's take a look indeed at these, for instance, the medical supplies. We're helping the member states on different fronts here. To start with, for instance, we have organized so-called joint procurement procedures, which allow us to buy for the member states, or to rather identify suppliers of medical supplies that can then deliver these supplies to the member states. We are doing this together, making use of economies of scale and making sure that we can, in a very balanced way, purchase the necessary equipment. Doing this together is something that clearly has an added value. We have also set up a stockpiling mechanism which will allow member states to create stockpiles in case of problems of capacities. We have just today released guidelines on cross-border cooperation in the area of healthcare, for instance, which allows member states to work together when you have member states where hospitals are overwhelmed, well, then these hospitals and these member states could send patients to other member states. The guidelines also allow, for instance, an easier transfer of qualified teams of medical staff from one member state to another member state. So these are a few examples in the healthcare sector where we all try to ensure an approach of solidarity and cooperation.
Yeah, so there will be a unified way of tackling this problem.
Well, we should not forget that health policies are national matters,
right?
But this does not prevent us all from working together in a spirit of solidarity, using the mechanisms that we have, strengthening the mechanisms that we have.
Yeah, there's a big race to produce a new vaccine or a vaccine for this virus. What is your role as European Commission in this race?
Well, I would like to draw your attention to the fact that the European Union, for instance, has made quite some money available for research products. We have mobilized 140 million euros for research projects in the area of the development of a vaccine, in the area of treatment, and so on. So we are spending quite a lot of important funding in this area. We have also offered 80 million financial support to a company which is a global leader in this effort, CureVac. So there's a lot of work and support is ongoing.
Yeah. And how big is the role of China in helping Europe in this time, in this crisis?
Well, you know that China has offered help, and obviously we are very happy with the signs of solidarity shown by China. As you know, the European Union has, at the beginning of the crisis, also offered help to China. So, you know, this virus is a global virus. It is a virus that doesn't have any national borders. So we will only be able to tackle this virus if we do it globally in a spirit of solidarity and cooperation.
Yeah, and how's the role of your old friend, US? Because we only hear critics from them that, Europe is the new hub of the spreading of the virus.
As I said, this is a virus that doesn't know any borders. We see that it is present everywhere. And so again, we will only be able to tackle this virus if we do that in a spirit of cooperation and solidarity.
Okay, and how do you see the future of your health system in Europe? Because we see there's a big problem and there will be new epidemics.
Well, you know, we are now in a situation where we are doing our utmost best to manage the situation, help the member states see what can be done best to coordinate our response. The time will come, I'm sure, that we will think about how to tackle these things in the future in a better way, and how we can learn lessons from the way we have handled the crisis today. So I'm sure we will have plenty of time to reflect on this matter once we've been able to manage this crisis and tackle, for instance, also the economic consequences of this crisis.
So as I hear, you are not pessimistic about future of the European Union after this crisis, because I read a lot of things. I mean, in Netherlands media, Belgium, in Britain, British people say, they say, good that we left Europe because they are not solidar to each other and there is no more future for European Union.
I would say on the contrary, what this situation has shown is the need for working together, the need for solidarity, the need for cooperation. I'm an extremely strong believer in the work that the European Union is doing.